Hey guys, I'm Jesse here. In today's video, I'm making one of Thor's swords from Thor Ragnarok. Let's check it out. Alright, so some of you guys might be aware, I am prepping myself for a Thor Ragnarok cosplay setup for New York Comic Con later next month. So some of what I need to do is actually build out some of the weapons that you see in the trailer and in the posters for Thor Ragnarok. Thankfully, Martin Moore, aka Forge 3D over on my Mini Factory, posted a tweet saying that he was making the files and was wondering if anybody would be interested in test printing them for him. Yes, I would be very interested in test printing those files for him. Unfortunately, what I don't have is a time lapse of the actual printing of the actual swords. Unfortunately, my camera's card ended up getting corrupted and I just basically lost all of the footage, which included an entirely other video that I had already recorded for this weekend that I'm now not gonna be able to show you guys. I'm gonna have to re-record that and post it probably later in the week. It's gonna be a whole uphill effort. But regardless, what I wanna do is show you the actual prints that I've gotten from those files, and they are awesome. All right, so first off, let me show you my failed print. And by failed print, I mean big, huge print of this sword. There's nothing failed about this. This thing is so badass. This is more like a Hulk Ragnarok sword versus a Thor Ragnarok sword. This is the original file that Martin Moore sent me, was a little bit larger than it should have been, and I just blindly printed it. I was so excited, I didn't even bother testing to see the file's dimensions, and this turned out to be massive. It's like a broadsword versus, you know, a regular sword, I guess. It's something that looks like something you'd see out of Dark Souls versus out of a movie. Yeah, this thing measures 50 inches, which is over 4 feet long, and there is no way that I'm just throwing this out and junking it. I will totally be putting this on display. This just looks freaking sweet. It looks so friggin' cool. It's massive, absolutely massive. So one thing he was obviously looking for was feedback, which is why he asked someone to print this and what they thought of the files. And immediately I said, it might be a little too large. And what's funny is you can see here that I printed these in a few different pieces as well as different colored filaments. So I used some Ziltic PLA, which is the orange, and then it was a different variant of blue. I think it's fluo blue that they have, and it's kind of a really cool metallic-y translucent blue. Loving it, absolutely loving the color of this PLA. But what you can see here is, it might be hard to see on the camera, is this file that he originally sent me was broken up into 4 sections, or at least the blade was. So here's the top half, a midsection, another midsection, and the bottom of the blade. I printed all 4 at one time, no supports whatsoever, and I apologize again that I don't have a time lapse so that you guys can see all that. It took over 40 hours just to print the blades. Didn't use up a ton of PLA, which was great. And then the actual hilt piece here, the sword butt, is broken up into 3 pieces as well. So here's this piece here. There is the actual handle bit, and then there's a cap on the end that you can print. And again, I printed all 3 of these, and this only took, I think, 18 hours in this iteration, in the original iteration. So immediately once I printed this, and I was printing both of these at the same time, simultaneously, one on my CR10 and one on the CR10 S4. And yeah, immediately knew, all right, this is a little too large, just slightly too large. So what he did was very quickly rescale the files for me. And I should also mention one really awesome aspect about these files is he has designed them, kept in mind that the files, it's a sword here, and when you print a sword, the stability of these is something that you're always questioning, even if you print it and just glue it together. If you drop it, it might snap in half. It's not so sturdy. So what he did was made sure that there's an inserted hole that runs all the way vertically through the sword, and you can actually insert a metal rod in here to give it support and brace it, which is what I have in place right now inside the sword. And also he has little caps that you can also print and put inside here to help lock it in place so it doesn't spin around. So I've actually got it taped still on the other side just to give it a little bit more support while I'm talking to you guys here. But this just in general makes it so much easier for you to actually end up assembling this and gluing it together, or if you just want to leave it as is and not really go the whole Bondo route or any of that, it just makes the process super simple. So let's take a look at the disassembled files, and I'll show you how you can actually assemble these once you've printed the files, and I'll show you the final sword that I'm gonna end up probably using for my cosplay piece. So here's the 50-inch Ragnarok sword that I was just showing you. This is AKA the Hulk Ragnarok sword. And here are all of the printed pieces for the properly sized sword that's now scaled at 70% of the original. He also made sure that the holes still matched the original size, so he had to rework those a bit. And basically you just take a 6mm either threaded or non-threaded metal bar here, and you can insert it into the openings. These are also has pins here that you can print with this, and there are 4 that you need and that you can actually just pop in to the openings here and piece it together. Right there, so it all kind of clips together. And then the end of this, once you have the wire, the metal rod slid through, you can put the cap on. I actually need to trim this rod, and I'm not gonna do this because I'm recording in the middle of the night right now, and it would wake up my family and would make a very unhappy wife if I went and did that right now. So I'll probably do that tomorrow. But as you see here, it slides all the way up through the sword. I have a little bit extra here that I'm gonna have to trim off. I'll probably trim it somewhere up a little higher as well, and then secure it in place, glue it or epoxy it in place, and then I'll be able to slide the cap on here. But then it gives you the properly scaled sword. So what I'm gonna do real quick is just throw some glue on this again so it's nice and not wiggling around, and show it to you guys. All right, and here is the properly scaled version of the sword, and it looks so friggin' good. I'm really excited about this. Loving the paint combination as well, not even the paint, excuse me, the PLA print color combination for the sword. I really almost don't even want to paint the blade, but I'm going to. It has to have that really funky vibe that you see in the trailers. It doesn't really look like a normal sword. It's blue, you know, and it's all different colors, which is really friggin' cool. So tomorrow I'll be looking at taking some sort of a Dremel metal cutting attachment. Let me pop the hilt back on there and cutting the metal rod and then securing it in place, and then I can get this piece ready and prepped to be glued together and then painted. So it'll be really, really cool. So I'll be sharing that with you guys once I get this printed. And also you'll notice that there is actually 2 variations of the sword with slightly different designs. So it sounds like Martin might be creating the other variation. Don't know when he's gonna get to that, not anticipating him getting to it. I'm just happy that I have one here that looks like this, that turned out so well. So hopefully he'll be sharing these in the future here with you guys, so that if you have a 3D printer and you're interested in printing one for yourself, that you'll be able to do that as well. But for now, the files are not available, and hopefully he'll be making them available soon. So if the files are made available, I'll update the description and links and all that to those files where you can get those. Also, for anybody who was looking for a quick comparison between the 2 swords here, this one could eat this sword. Hey, thanks again for watching, you guys. If you haven't already, make sure to like, subscribe. Also, I've got a contest going on where you can win a CR10 3D printer. Pretty crazy. So hopefully you guys have already entered in on that. Checking out these videos. Stay tuned, because again, I will be providing more updates on this Thor Ragnarok cosplay build as I move closer towards New York Comic Con. So, hey, thanks again for watching, you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye now. I gotta lose some weight before I come. Throw around New York Comic-Con, yeah. Stop drinking the beer, stop eating donuts, stop eating crap, eat some salad, yeah. Whatever Chris Hemsworth eats, which is probably nothing but salad and chicken and protein, and works out all day with a very expensive Hollywood trainer, which I don't have the money for.